Hello and welcome back. So the app design for our mood tracker app is finalized and development sprint number 3 is underway. So I'll show you what the design looks like and I'll talk about the sprint in this vlog. But just in case you're new here, this series is raw and unscripted and I share our team's journey in building apps for profit. This vlog entry is dated February 14th, 2024. With all that said, I hope you enjoy. Hello, welcome. So in the last vlog, I showed you this design that I had come up with. And just to jog your memory, or in case you're joining new here, the original mood tracker app that we were trying to build looked like this. And this was me just asking our lead designer to design something. It wasn't exactly what I had in mind, but then again, I didn't tell my designer what I had in mind. So that's the first mistake. Because I didn't have a clear picture of what I wanted. And so the lesson for you is if you are going to ask a designer to do something for you, you have to be pretty explicit and you have to know what you want. I think a client that doesn't know what they want is probably the worst thing for any sort of consultant or designer. So I decided to take a crack at it to try to get in my head onto paper. I used this photo as a reference for the feeling that I was trying to evoke. And I did something like this. I wanted like a cozy, warm type of feeling of using this app. So I used a lot of browns, like earth tones and things like that. I also used a lot of non-standard things as I later realized when JC did his design based off of this. Okay, so once I came up with this, I asked JC, okay, now looking at this, do you understand what I'm trying to go for? And so he took this and ran with it and redesigned all the screens based off of this feeling and emotion. And this is what he came up with. So you can see that it's a mixture between the first version and my version. And what I actually really appreciate about this is the fact that it looks more of an app that you would see in the App Store. What do I mean by that? It's hard to put your finger on it. Like when I was designing this, I thought, oh, this would be good here. This would be good here. And overall, I was pretty happy with it. But when I saw how JC went about the design, I was like, this looks like a professional app because it's using standard controls. For example, the tab bar and these icons up here. If you look at just this screen, like this entry screen, like this, notice this back to top right here and this plus button versus what I had here. So if you look at this design right here, you will see a stark difference. I think that you'll understand what I'm saying. If you look at this screen right here versus this screen right here, this just looks more of an app that you would see in the App Store that you would launch or use on your phone versus something like this that sort of doesn't look like an iPhone app, right? It looks, now to me, it looks a little bit amateurish. So it was hard to put my finger on it when I was designing it. So anyways, I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, so let me walk you through some of the interactions. So when you have a bunch of mood entries, we didn't figure out how to edit or delete entries, and this is what we came up with. So when you tap on an entry, you essentially drill down and you can delete it. Rather than launching you into the logging flow, which asks you these questions one by one. So we thought, okay, for example, if let's say you just wanted to edit who you were with, you would have to walk through step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 to get there just to change that option. So we came up with this solution, which was to allow the user to swipe any one of these properties, you could say, and edit it, and it would launch you into that specific mood entry screen to let you make a different selection. Okay, so that's how you would edit an entry. The other thing is the calendar. So the calendar, I identified something pretty funny here that I didn't understand before. So my original idea was to use a circle to indicate days that you have logged something and a dot to indicate that this is the current date. So we looked at another design where instead of a big circle, you would have a little dot if you logged something on that day. So you'd end up with a calendar of a lot of little dots here. But it didn't feel right because it didn't And again, this was something that was really hard to put my finger on. It didn't give the feeling of satisfaction. I'm comparing this to like a fitness workout app. When I'm logging a workout on that day, it feels like a win to me, and a big juicy circle around that day that I can clearly see indicates, it gives me this feeling of achievement, of satisfaction. And then when I see a month full of fat circles, it feels like I did a lot that month. And so that wasn't something that I wasn't able to identify when I was designing it. But then after looking at the alternative of just like having a little indication that there was something logged on that day, I realized something was missing. So I told JC, like, I really need a huge indication that something was done on that day, because looking at a calendar full of green circles, for example, it lets me know that, hey, I've put in a lot of work and I feel good about that. So that was a cool realization. About this log entry screen, let me walk you through this. So a couple of the interactions we were unsure about, we figured out as well. So for example, originally I had something where if you tap on an option, it moves you to the next screen right away. So tapping good just zooms you over here, tapping overjoyed zooms you. And I liked that because it was quick and it was fast, but it didn't allow for certain types of interactions, such as pinning a mood. Let's say I always want to use this mood. I want to pin it to the top. Yeah. What we decided would be better was to let the user make a selection and then have buttons for them to go to the next screen. Then the user probably feels a little more in control, because you can choose one, think about it, change your mind, choose another, change your decision, and then hit the green button to move on to the next screen. You could always use the back button to go back. You can always cancel to say, hey, I actually don't want to log a mood at all. We also simplified it because before logging a custom mood like this, my idea was that when you type in a custom mood here and you somehow hit save or whatever, it would create a button here for your custom mood so that you can use this in the future. So in this design, what we're doing is just allowing you to type whatever you want as your mood, as a custom mood, and then go on to the next screen. But it wouldn't save this necessarily for the next time. At least I don't think so. In this design, it looks like you will save it. Let me reconfirm that. So if you cancel, we have dialogues because you have made some progress on your entry up till this point. So we do want to confirm with the user. And also a tap and hold interaction is used for pinning a certain mood to the top, or maybe deleting a custom mood, I think. Yeah. Or maybe removing it from a pinned section. We're asking about the weather. This is what the button looks like for the location services. And it'll allow you to use a location. Who are you with? What were you doing? Where are you? Of course, you don't have to log all of these things. You can log just as much or as little as you want and hit save, and it will save your mood. Okay, so based on this design, which is a lot more finalized than what we had before, what we had to do is go back to the drawing board in terms of planning the sprints and re-estimate everything based on the new design. Luckily, we did some work already in the first 2 sprints that we can reuse, so not all is lost. But based on these story points, which is an estimation of effort, we are going to plan sprint 3. Working on this app is not our full-time thing. We're also supporting students through our training programs and things like that. We are only allocating each person 8 story points per 2-week sprint. So that's where we're at right now. I'm excited to see this come more to fruition. And now that we have a solid place to start from, it's not a changing design, I think we can make some real progress. So stay tuned and I will update you guys next time. Thanks for watching.